coming upon. I want to recognize a couple things before our last two speakers, Charla Hughes and Tim Lydon, is going to talk about the foundation and volunteer opportunities that we have. But I also want to recognize the Prince William Sound Science Center, who we had some speakers with. They've been very helpful in spreading the word about this event in Cordova, and also the Alaska Sea Life Center in Seward. So last up, and then lunch, woohoo, is going to be Tim Lydon. I got my notes. That was yesterday. Where am I at here? Here we go. Volunteering with Prince William Sound Stewardship Foundation and friends, Charla Hughes, our executive director, and Tim Lydon. Hold up, guys.
All right. Thank you, Paul, and thanks everyone for being here. We will also keep this short and sweet, as we know we're standing between you and a really nice lunch from Wild Catch Cafe. I'm Charla Hughes. I'm the executive director of the Prince William Sound Stewardship Foundation. This is Tim Lydon.
Hi, everybody.
And we're here to talk to you about the Stewardship Foundation. So you know that we put on the Natural History Symposium. You're all here. You may be wondering what we do the other 363 days a year. We are a local nonprofit dedicated to keeping Prince William Sound healthy, clean, and wild for all to enjoy. And we have an all-volunteer board of directors. If you serve on that board, would you give a wave? Many in the room here. So please see a board member during the lunch break tabling time if you'd like to talk more about the foundation and learn a bit more. And we work to this mission of keeping the sound healthy, clean, and wild for all to enjoy through many different ways. One, education events like this Natural History Symposium. And we also do an array of hands-on stewardship projects, many of them in close partnership with our friends at Chugach National Forest and with other partners as well, like the City of Whittier Parks and Rec. Jamie will be here this afternoon talking about our partnership volunteer opportunities. One of those you see in the photo here is the Head of the Bay Cleanup Day that's coming up this Saturday. A really fun annual event for collecting marine debris, giving this popular beach a little love before the busy summer season. And marine debris is a big part of our stewardship work out in the Sound. So we have many different approaches to marine debris. One of those is the multi-day trips with Chugach National Forest and other partners. So we go out to different zones in the Sound. There are a couple different zones that we work on within the wilderness study area as we've been tracking marine debris trends over time, building off of the data from Chugach National Forest and others working in marine debris like Gulf of Alaska Keeper. To identify those high collection zones, here we are at Knight Island a couple summers ago. And we work with other partners out there as well. Here we have the U.S. Coast Guard came out to join us for a day. They came over from Valdez. And we also work with scientists like Catherine Youngblood here, who's developed the Marine Debris Tracker app, which lets us track our data so that we can go to those high collection zones and see our trends over time to see what kind of difference our collection efforts are making. Beyond seeing like what we see here with the front of the Forest Service vessel loaded down with marine debris like styrofoam and nets here.
Thanks, Charla. I'm seeing that picture of our now 10-year-old daughter Stella there giving her best sass, and I see Senya in the room here just being so sweet and pleasant, and I'm having a moment of my own, Kelly. Anyhow, yeah, thanks, Charla. And I wrote down some of the partners that help with these marine debris trips, and they include Gulf of Alaska Keeper. Many of you are familiar with Chris Pallister, the work he's been doing for 15 years or more in the Sound, and especially on Montague. And so we work with Chris to make sure that we're cleaning areas, either helping him or areas that he can't get to in the Sound. And as Charlotte mentioned, the Coast Guard and many companies and organizations, including when we go down to Elrington, the Port Ashton Lodge has always helped us out, and Discovery Tours and Knowles, the Babkin, Alaska Geographic, the hatcheries have tried, but weather has shut us down a couple of times. But the point being that these multi-day marine debris trips are the product of a lot of partnerships. And I remember 7 years ago, I guess, when the foundation came together, and this was our first Keystone event, and many people are in the room that helped that happen. Paul and Kelly and others are here, Barbara. And one of the things we identified was, like, as a purpose of the organization, as we thought about having basically a friends group to help out many things in the Sound, was this idea of building community and filling gaps. And when I list all these partners here and look at this work here, this is a great example. The symposium is a great example of filling a gap. There's obviously a need. So many people keep coming every year. The same with these trips. The Chugach National Forest, we never had the capacity to address marine debris in Prince William Sound, yet it's clearly something that's impacting the shorelines. And it was the creation of the foundation and their ability to bring together volunteers and do the social media and the fundraising and all the things that we just couldn't do, either because it's not within our role or we didn't have the capacity. And so what I'm saying is that the Chugach National Forest involvement in annual marine debris work would not happen without the foundation and these partners I've listed. It's the same thing. The foundation is what brought us all together and provided sought the funding, that kind of thing. So this is a huge success, 7 years now, and I'm really happy to be working with you guys on this.
Thanks, Tim. It's great working together. We couldn't do what we do without Chugach National Forest and without all of the partners that are part of this, without all of you here in the room attending events like the symposium as well. You may be wondering, how much of an issue is marine debris out in the Sound? You hear about it on a global scale, but how does it impact us locally, especially when you think of these picturesque moments like here in Night Island a couple summers ago, and you're looking out beautiful shorelines, and then you look behind you. And this is often what we find in some of those pocket beaches, and why we're getting out there and doing these efforts that take several days. We're base camping, and then going beach to beach to clean the beaches and seeing all sorts of different kinds of debris here, which we track and keep data on. And we don't just do cleanups in the summer. Of course, the weather's a little better for getting out there. We also work with the City of Whittier, the Ocean Conservancy, and Dive Alaska and Chugach National Forest on the Whittier Harbor cleanup in February, which started last year, and we had our second year this year. You can see the top 10 items collected and some of the impressive work that took place in just a day in the harbor here, with over 3,000 pounds of marine debris coming out, and using all of our work throughout the summers to build a repeatable protocol, and then working with Ocean Conservancy, able to take some really interesting data and track trends over time. In addition to marine debris, we also do trail work. We have some photos here from Shrode Lake and the Shrode Lake Trail. Now a really beautiful trail out to a really beautiful area, thanks to the work of Chugach National Forest and the Stewardship Foundation and the many volunteers who've gotten out there with us over the years.
Yeah, this is another example of how the Stewardship Foundation and our partners help us build capacity. And if you had hiked the Shrode Lake Trail to the cabin maybe 4 or 5 years ago before we started this project with the Stewardship Foundation, it's on a rainy day, it's like walking through a car wash. There was a lot of overgrown salmon berries and whatnot, and that had forced hikers to kind of go off the trail, and there was erosion and whatnot. And so the Forest Service, we have a lot of trails we're working on, and it's just a capacity issue. There's a lot of concentration on our trails on the road system where we have the highest volume of use, but still, these trails that open, that access places like Schroed Lake and the Schroed Lake Cabin. This is one of the most amazing trails in Prince William Sound. So we were, as the Forest Service, we were doing maintenance intervals on the trail, but they weren't enough to keep up with the work. So through the Stewardship Foundation and funding from the Prince William Sound RAC, the Regional Advisory Committee, that's where the funding came from. We were, and the Trails Legacy Grant, right? We were able to cobble these things together. And now when you hike that trail, it's a breeze, and it's back to where the trail tread should be and that kind of thing. So this is, again, work that wouldn't be happening without the Stewardship Foundation, and we're super psyched to be working on it. And I do want to mention one thing back to marine debris to tie into Maya's talk, but Maya had the slide about injured resources and species in Prince William Sound from the spill. And one thing that is not widely known is that the wilderness study area itself remains an injured species from the spill, or not species, injured service from the spill because of various impacts. And when we clean marine debris and do other work, even recreational enhancement here, like this trail project, we're helping address some of those things that are still a legacy of the spill, which has the wilderness study area still in that injured column. So I meant to tie into Maya's talk before about that, but there's the obvious purposes and then some other underlying things too about these projects.
And in addition to that trail work and marine debris, we also do camp area restoration. Tim mentioned some of the high trafficked areas, highly used areas. And here we are at Blackstone Bay, working on that camp area, adding in some stairs, a path, connecting different camp areas there, and then at Hobo Bay as well. So working on the invasive dandelions that are out there. And we have lots of annual projects that are single-day endeavors and also require maintenance throughout the summer. One of those, we just planted our potato garden for the summer at Chugach National Forest, Glacier Ranger District Office in Girdwood. This is something we've been doing for 5, 6, 7 years now? Something like that?
It was 5.
5, yeah. So watching local kids growing up every year coming to plant and harvest these potatoes. All of the potatoes that are raised here are donated to the food pantry, which go to serve people in Turnagain Arm and in Whittier. And this is another moment of lots of partnership accomplishing something together. This wouldn't happen without the Chugach National Forest, without the Girdwood Community Land Trust, and our friends at Chugach Regional Resources Commission as well. We're really excited to be expanding the Potato Garden Project this summer to Alutiiq Pride Marine Institute in Seward with 4 more beds that are going in later this month. And then we'll all get together in these 2 communities in September to harvest our potatoes. Last year, we had around 100 potatoes coming out of 3 different... 100 pounds. Sorry, not 100 potatoes. 100 pounds of 3 different strains of potatoes. The Yukon Gold, Purple Viking, and the Tlingit Haida potato, which has been grown indigenously in this area for hundreds of years. And in addition to the potato gardening, we also work with CERC and APMI on opportunistic blue mussels sampling out in the Sound. So Robin talked about their extensive sampling network within communities. And this, we're able to bring in some opportunistic sampling when different organizations like the Forest Service and Outfitter Guide organizations are out there able to collect some blue mussels, which we then coordinate to get to the lab in Seward for testing for harmful algal blooms and paralytic shellfish poisoning. And blue mussels are an indicator species of ocean health. So a really amazing citizen science opportunity that folks can get involved in. If you are planning to go out in the Sound and would like to collect blue mussels, you can coordinate with us at info@princewilliamsound.org, and we can work with you to get those samples. Would you like to talk about some more citizen science?
I'll just add 2 quick things, because
Yep.
we're right there at lunch,
We are.
right? Yeah, about the potato garden, I just wanted to say that's right outside the office at the Glacier District in Girdwood, and we have a couple picnic tables there, and you're invited. If you're driving through Girdwood and it's a nice rainy day, or it might be sunny, just saddle up to our picnic tables and watch the potatoes grow. And then in the fall, we'll be harvesting them with the kids again out of Girdwood, and you're welcome to join that. And the Stewardship Foundation has often actually hosted a barbecue there and whatnot as we do the harvesting and the food banks there and whatnot. And yeah, I just appreciate all the citizen science opportunities that the foundation has provided. They're on the website, and the blue mussels are just one example. And it's in the news, as you know, a lot about PSP and harmful algal blooms, and so it's really fun to be part of that too in Prince William Sound.
And then you can find out more information about all of these projects on our website at princewilliamsound.org, on our Instagram at PWSSF, and on Facebook, PWS Stewardship Foundation. At this point, it is time for lunch, so we'd love to take some questions, but maybe we'll do that as we're socializing after lunch. So, Paul, do you have? Okay, cool. Paul has a few things.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, lots. It's for an organization that's so young, it's just amazing what's been accomplished. I want to have lunch. We'll be back at what time we get back at? We get back at 1:45. We encourage you to before the end of the day. There's a online survey that's real simple. It just asks what went well with the symposium, what could we improve on. If you have ideas for future topics and speakers, we're very happy to hear them. I'd like to thank the organizing committee. You can raise your hand. Maya was here. Maya Draper, right? Just over there. Tim Lydon, Peter Denmark, with lots of sea kayakers. Kelly Bender is part of the organizing committee. Alex von Whitman with Bapkin Charters, and Lee Lubin, and Ellen Ray with the Foundation and the Forest Service, and myself. So if you have ideas, come talk to us. Tell us what it's worth to you. Like what is this? What's great about this, and what value this brings to you? We'd love to hear that. And I think that's it. We'll see you in a little over an hour. Enjoy lunch.